From the Samson Production Studios in the heart of Hazleton, Pennsylvania, it's your News 13.
Brought to you by SSPTV and the Standard Speaker.
It's been a long 2 years, but a serviceman from our area who was jailed in South Korea has been released, and we've been in contact. Andre Fisher's release, our top story on News 13 for this Friday. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Kathy Basinski. A man from Greater Hazleton who's been held in a South Korean prison for nearly 2 years was released and may soon be making his way home. Andre Fisher, who's a 2007 graduate of Hazleton Area High School, spent the last 2 years in a prison in South Korea after he was convicted of robbing a cab driver of $88. Fisher is a U.S. Army private who was stationed in South Korea in 2011 when the robbery occurred. He was sentenced by a Korean court on charges of robbery and destruction of public property at a military entertainment complex in Seoul. Fisher was released on Thursday after spending about 2 years in prison. We've been in communication with Fisher through Facebook, who says he's looking forward to coming home to be with his family and friends. As you can see from the page, family and friends were excited to hear the news of his release and were sending him joyful messages. He also sent out his own message to his family saying that he appreciated all the support that he's received and that he's finally free from the prison. Andre says he's not sure how soon he'll be back in Greater Hazleton, but says he'll sit down to talk with News 13 about his ordeal once he's back home. A Wilkes-Barre man who was shot and killed another man after their sons got into a fight after a basketball game will face murder charges. A judge ruled this morning that prosecutors have enough evidence to bring 36-year-old Shante Varez Thomas to trial for murder. Well, the attorney for Thomas argued that the victim, 40-year-old Derek Cottle, provoked the shooting. Prosecutors argued that Thomas went out looking for Cottle and his group leading up to the shooting, and that he chased after the group, shooting his pistol, even after they began to run away. Cottle and some others went to Thomas's home after an altercation between their sons during a basketball game. Thomas is being held at the Luzerne County Correctional Facility without bail. Well, it was a pretty crazy incident. A disagreement over an apartment on Alter Street between a landlord and tenant got out of hand, and the tenant started to trash the place. While the man was arrested, Christina Papa explains how this issue is a case of miscommunication between both parties.
A tenant wasn't getting his way, so in a fit of rage, he decided to trash the place.
They were getting Section 8 in there, and he wanted the second floor apartment, and they didn't want him to have that. They want him to have the third floor. So he said if they ever get him mad at them, he's going to smash all the windows out, and that's what he did.
24-year-old Sean A. Brogan broke all the windows on the second floor of his apartment building after a disagreement with his landlord.
He had smashed some of the windows and several interior apartments in the apartment building, damaging walls, floors, toilets, things of that nature.
Neighbors trying to stay out of the problem wouldn't show their faces today, but were shooken up over the tantrum.
I think they took him away in the ambulance on a stretcher, all strapped down. That's all I know. Well, see, just last week, he's the same guy that ran up the street here with swords and that in his hand, because there's something wrong with him. You know what I mean? So
police took Brogan away without a fight, but his outburst is going to cost a pretty penny.
Approximately $5,000 in damage. That landlord's going to have to absorb these costs. That doesn't help anybody.
Hazleton Area Landlord Organization's president, Justine Crego, advises tenants and landlords to work professionally through their issues and then document their discussions.
Well, the most important thing is to keep a positive communication with your tenants. There's always going to be situations that arise, disagreements. This kind of action is not the solution here. There are better solutions that are out there.
But this isn't the first time something like this has happened on Alter Street. That's why neighbors are upset and they're calling in for reinforcements.
But I couldn't believe it when I saw it, but that's Alder Street for you, and we're not getting any help.
Brogan has been charged with 2 second-degree felony counts of criminal trespass and is in the Luzerne County Correctional Facility tonight. Christina Papa, News 13, Hazleton.
And still ahead on News 13, we've got the making of a spectacular weekend. We'll tell you all about it in News 13 weather. But first, while many folks are turning to food pantries for food, obesity, a bigger problem than ever. We'll tell you who's going hungry and who's eating too much of the wrong things when News 13 continues. Planning to celebrate summer by enjoying fresh air, sunshine, and hitting a little white ball for 18 holes? Well, as Stephanie Gorney tells us, you can do all that for a cause that promotes fitness all year round.
Now that it is officially summer, it is the perfect sunny, warm weather to hit the green. And why not swing for a hole-in-one while supporting an important local organization? The YWCA is hosting their annual golf tournament on Friday, June 28th, which benefits programs that children from all over the area participate in.
It's a golf tournament we held every year that benefits our youth programs and our youth scholarships here at the Y, which enables all kids in the Hazleton area to come and participate in our programs.
This year's golf tournament has seen a tremendous increase in golfers than it has in the past and is going to be just as fun as ever by incorporating new ideas.
This year we actually got a lot more golfers than in the past, and this year we also have golfers can bring a guest. They only have to pay for dinner. It's $30, so you can bring your wife, have a date night, bring a friend, anything like that.
If you are interested in coming out to tee off next Friday, there is still plenty of time to sign up, and the YMCA encourages all to come out.
You can register up till the day to golf. We have foursomes and individual golfers, so if you don't have a group, we can stick you with another one.
The YMCA is excited for next week's event and hopes that it is a hole-in-one as always. Stephanie Gorney, News 13, Hazleton.
The Hazleton Chamber of Commerce always welcomes new members and helps them to network with other businesses in the area. On Thursday evening, the Chamber held its 4th annual New Members Gathering for members who've joined over the past year. There was an informational session where the members were able to hear about the perks of being a part of the Chamber and give them a better understanding of how the Chamber could benefit them. This has become such a great event for the new members because they're able to make connections with other businesses and learn how to help each other out.
I see a lot of deals being made. People are getting to know one another in terms of businesses, not just in terms of friendships. And I've seen some inroads be made in terms of mutual business deals.
And those new members were all excited to see what the Chamber had to offer. Can't wait for the next visitor to network with other businesses from the area. And time now for our regional weather from the National Weather Service. Checking the radar, mostly ground reflection out of Binghamton. Beyond that, nothing but pretty much clear skies. Creative Conditions, a pretty cool one, is by Jerry Gasser, a student at Hazleton Elementary Middle School. And he says it's a partly sunny day and perfect for a walk in the park. And I like how he drew the sun in those clouds. Now let's take a look at News 13 weather from the National Weather Service for Greater Hazleton for tonight. Mostly clear with a low around 57 degrees. And Saturday is going to be gorgeous, sunny with a high near 80. Partly cloudy at night, low down to 61. Heading to Schuylkill County tonight, mostly clear with a low around 54. And then equally gorgeous for Saturday, sunny, a high up to 83 degrees. Overnight low going down to 61. Well, the number of people going hungry in America continues to rise. More than 48 million Americans are on food stamps, and Republicans in Congress want to slash that funding. As Matthew Petrillo tells us, that could put an even greater need for food pantries.
These folks have been waiting to get some groceries here at this food pantry in Schuylkill Haven for hours.
That's a big help. And we get some frozen foods sometimes, and we also get some baked goods.
This pantry is open once a month, though the groceries Karen will get here will last her about 2 weeks.
The tuna fish and chickens like that. I like some of the cereals.
This is just one of Schuylkill County's 18 food pantries. Altogether, they serve around 1,400 families every month. But that number could soon increase. Congress is currently debating the amount of money that would go into the Farm Bill. The bill does mainly two things. It subsidizes certain crops and funds the country's food stamp program. But while Democrats are trying to cut the farm subsidies, the Republican-controlled House voted and won to cut food stamps by $2 billion.
The families that might have been supplementing their food budget with that food that they get through their SNAP cards, maybe they won't be getting it at all anymore, or they'll be getting a reduced amount, and it's going to put the burden on local food pantries like the Schuylkill Haven food pantry here, and as well as food banks to get food out to the pantries.
The Farm Bill funds billions of dollars to crops that make junk food, but the amount of funding healthier foods like produce receive pales in comparison. To put it in a different perspective, for every 21 Twinkies, you can buy just one apple.
The SNAP program provides a lot of income back into the local economy because it's people who are purchasing food with their SNAP income at their local grocery stores, which of course helps stimulate local economies as well.
Which means, he says, those are the items people on food stamps will likely skip and instead choose unhealthier, fatter foods. The House voted Thursday to defeat the Farm Bill, leaving it with no majority. Matthew Petrillo, News 13, Schuylkill Haven.
And as more people are starving in the U.S., more people are also getting fatter. Christina Papa explains the American Medical Association's newest decision may be exactly what America needs to help with the battle of losing weight.
It's the newest disease, and nearly 30% of Pennsylvanians have it.
It can decrease your lifespan, it's expensive, and it can really decrease your quality of life.
In a landmark decision, the American Medical Association recently chose to make obesity a disease process. That means bariatric surgeons like Dr. Michael Bono will be given easier access to patients who need either medical or surgical treatment for their health issue.
This is going to push insurance companies to assist physicians in helping take care of their patients, actually guide them in that way.
It can be genetic, physiological, behavioral, and even a societal issue. With more people reaching a body mass of over 30% or obese, Dr. Michael Bono says people need to become more aware of what they're eating and why they're eating.
Society looks at this issue in such a negative light that no one wanted to speak to me today here at Boyers about the issue. And in fact, that's why Dr. Bono hopes making it a disease will help people realize that just by changing your diet and adding exercise can help prevent and also reverse the issue.
But not everyone needs surgery, so patients who may just need weight loss strategies and guidance will also have easier access thanks to the decision.
The surgeries for morbid obesity are accepted by the insurance companies. Imagine that amount of investment from an insurance company placed to a non-surgical option.
Dr. Bono showed our News 13 cameras some easy ways to pick the right foods at Boyers today.
Being educated on what you're going to be choosing. So you want to make sure you have your fruits, your vegetables, you have your leaner meats. And it depends on who you are and what time frame and what you're going to be doing at home.
Even bringing a list of what you need before you go to the store can help prevent people from buying unhealthy things. Dr. Bono hopes that these small changes will eventually help people understand how eating healthy and exercising can change so much more than just the scale.
I think overall we're getting smarter on how to do it, and I think that we have a lot of tools to help people.
Christina Papa, News 13, Hazleton.
And let's check the winning midday lottery numbers. Good luck if you play. The Daily 269, Big 4 0270, Quinto 18060, and the Treasure Hunt 320 22 24 29. Hope you won.
Good evening, everyone, and here's tonight's social news. A happy 25th birthday to Mike Kozowski of Freeland. He celebrates this on Saturday. This wish comes from Joe, Judy, Frank, Mom, Dad, and Rambo. And now for tonight's Talk of the Town. The second annual High Mountain Craft Beer Festival of the Hazleton Rotary Club will be Saturday, June 22nd at Genetti's Inn & Suites. From 1 to 5 p.m., there will be over 40 craft beers and entertainment by Ostrich Hat. For more information, you can call 570-454-2494. And the All Saints Church Festival will be Saturday, June 29th from 5 to 10 p.m. and Sunday, June 30th from 11 to 7. There's plenty of good food, tricky trays, a bake sale, and fun and games. Saturday includes a polka mass at 4 and golden tones from 5:30 to 10:30. And finally tonight, the Greater Shenandoah Area Historical Society's next meeting features Pastor Philip Smith, a topic reading of the railroad on July 2nd at 6 p.m. There's no admission and the public is welcome to attend. That's tonight's Talk of the Town. News 13 extends our deepest sympathies to the family and friends of these recently departed. Mary D'Aruzo of Hazel Township. Funeral service will be Monday at 9:30 a.m. from the Nat and Gowis Funeral Home. Friends may call Sunday from 5 to 8 p.m. Diane Cobb of Hazleton. Memorial service will be Saturday at 10 a.m. from the Church of Jesus Christ of the Latter-day Saints in Berwick. And Evelyn A. Zimmerman, formerly of Zion Grove. The funeral will be held June 27th at 1 p.m. from the Mount Zion Lutheran Church. Tonight's obituaries have been brought to you by the Smilax Floral Shop on 15th Street in Hazleton. Free delivery to all local funeral homes. Call 570-454-0111. And by Mia's, once again the Hazleton area's #1 rated restaurant. Call 501-3410 for information on lunch and packages.
SSPTV Sports on News 13 with Fred Barletta Jr.
Homecoming weekend for Russ Kanzler and the Norfolk Tide. This will be the only visit of the year for Norfolk into Scranton-Wilkes-Barre, and of course, can't get any closer to home than that, no matter what minor league affiliation or major league team you're talking about. And that leads us off you take a look. There it is tonight. It's game one of a 3-game set between Norfolk and the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders. Now the games will be tonight, tomorrow night, and then Saturday, a 1 o'clock game. So a lot of people from the greater Hazleton area usually make the trek up to PNC Park and Music. It'll be well worth it. You know, Kanzler traditionally has done very, very well playing in front of the hometown crowd. So we'll wait and see what happens tonight. You can also see we threw in there the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs on the road at Columbus. Now, get back to Kanzler here a little bit. His Norfolk team is absolutely in the droves right now. They cannot score runs. They got a lot of hits, and Kanzler's bat is coming back to action here. He was 2 for 4 last night, but they're just not scoring runs, and Indianapolis knocked them off 2-1. So we'll see if not only Kanzler can get back on his game at home, but also the Norfolk Tide. Speaking of the Rail Riders, they come into this series, awful loss to Rochester. The Red Wings beat them 5-2 yesterday. The Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs shut out Toledo, so the Iron Pigs are doing okay on that Ohio swing. We'll wait and see what they could do tonight out in Columbus. Now, what does it all mean as far as the standings? Well, we could talk first of all in the North Division, where you take a look. The Iron Pigs are 5 games behind the Paw Sox, who are in first place. And you can see the Rail Riders, although they've done well out in Toledo, they really hit a dry spell there early in the month of June. You see they've fallen 12 games off the pace. Now the team that's really fallen back has been the Norfolk Tide. Remember, they were battling Durham back and forth, first place. Each team would leapfrog over each other. Right now, they've dug a hole. They're only 2 games over 500 and now 9 games back of Durham. So they need to start turning it around. We'll see what happens. Maybe it'll get going tonight, this weekend, up at PNC Park. Joe Madden and the Rays get round 1 at Yankee Stadium last night as they thumped the Yankees. They'll go at it again, game 2 of a 4-game set in the Bronx. The LA Angels are where the Pirates are, and the Mets and Phillies in National League East battle. That'll be down in Philadelphia tonight. I wonder if they'll be able to open up the windows and listen to the Rolling Stones. We'll wait and see. But talking about little celebration, well, that's what they're doing in Miami last night today as the Miami Heat win Game 7 in the NBA championship, and they become NBA champs in back-to-back years. And if you don't think this is one of the really super teams in the history of the NBA, you're sadly mistaken. Take this into consideration. They've played in the NBA title game 3 years in a row, and they've now won back-to-back. So that's putting them up there in rarefied air, and they may not be done. But let's savor the moment now. The Heat, world champions. And who's going to be Stanley Cup champions? Well, critical game tonight out in Chicago. The Blackhawks hosting the Bruins as the Stanley Cup moves on and starts winding down. Hey, they're saying it's the longest day of the year. Let's fill it all with sports. Tonight's sports is brought to you by Mountain Speedway. Here's a look at this weekend's action. They got the Mike Moyer Jr. Factory Stock Memorial, modified street stocks, 4 cylinders. They got lady races for factory stocks and street stocks. The pits, well, 2 o'clock going to open up, and the racing will begin at 6. Grandstand admission only $10. Kids 10 and under are free, and if you're an active military or a student, even senior discount, $2 off the price of admission. There's the website and the phone numbers. You could call them and get all the information on the excitement of racing down at Mountain Speedway.
And we are back here at the Hazleton Animal Shelter for this week's Adopt Me. And today's dog, Chris, is an unusual breed for this area.
That's correct. Today we're featuring a bull terrier mix actually, which is kind of rare. She's not to be confused with a pit bull or English bulldog or American bulldog or anything else. She's a totally separate breed. Like any terrier, she's very active, very loyal, and she's also incredibly friendly. She's highly people-oriented, and she loves to play. She's also spayed, completely negative for heartworm and Lyme, and totally up to date on her shots.
Yeah, she's not overly big either. She's kind of like the right size, not too big, not too small.
That's right. She's a very comfortable, convenient size. She'd probably be great in any sized home. I recommend, though, at least daily walks in a yard where she has room to run around and play.
Okay, and there's the little bull terrier. Now let's head on into the cat colony. And now we're here in the female cat colony, and today we have Sydney and Susie, who, believe it or not, are siblings, Chris.
That's right. Even though they look nothing like each other, they do share a mother. One thing that could happen is in the wild, when female cats are mating, they can mate with a variety of males and thus give birth to quite a variety of kittens in a single litter. These two are sisters. They're both spayed and tested for feline leukemia and FIV. Of course, they're both negative. And they're also fully vaccinated. They get along great with each other. They're very playful and very affectionate. We'd recommend them for basically anybody who loves cats. They're not destructive or climby like a lot of animals their age could be. And they get along very well with people and with other cats as well. They're used to each other's company.
Okay, and now, Chris, it's the first day of summer now, and there's a heat wave coming. So do you have any tips for pet owners?
Well, anybody who has a dog that they have to take out or leave in the yard for any period of time, just please make sure there's plenty of shelter and water, fresh water available for them. Make sure the water bowl's not sitting out in the sun either. It'll warm and stagnate and dry the water, so you want to keep the water outside as cool as you can. Also, it's a good idea to make sure you look out on your animal from time to time. Make sure the dog's not panting too hard or displaying any kind of signs of heat stroke or anything.
Okay, and now if you guys at home are interested in the two sisters here, or even the bull terrier from earlier, come on down to the Hazleton Animal Shelter at 101 North Poplar Street. And for this week's Adopt Me, I'm Stephanie Gorney.
And plenty more news and information headed your way on News 13. More people are turning to food pantries than ever before to feed their families. One local one involved in a national study about it. That story and much more news when the 13 crew comes right back.